Meraki, the MX appliance, is our all-in-one edge appliance. That's the way I like to think of it, because it is first and foremost a security appliance, and secondly, it's it's an edge appliance. You can use it for termination of your WAN. As you see here, and if you all are familiar with Cisco's acquisitions and our full security architecture, you'll notice that advanced malware protection, which is completely about files, it's all about inspecting files, identifying when they come inside the network, retrospectively finding a file that we once deemed good and going back and saying, you know what, this file is actually bad, and stopping it at every single place we've seen it in your network, and doing the same for all of our security customers that also see that file. Since we're all talking to one single cloud, we call it Talos, our security intelligence. So file protection is very important, and the nice thing about Cisco is that we have this same protection across many places in our environment, and we call it AMP. It sits at your traditional ASA firewall. It sits at the email layer. It sits at our web security appliance layer. We have it in our cloud security, which I'll talk about in a second here, umbrella, and then we have it on our MX, in our Meraki portfolio. So we're serious about having protection everywhere in the environment, no matter what type of solution you're using. So AMP is a really big capability we brought to the edge. So Meraki, right, it's perfect. It's a perfect solution. It's simple to use, and I'll show you how this MX appliance fits in that story. And honestly, any kind of perimeter security is perfect for you as long as your users are on premise. The moment your users go home, the moment they work from their corporate-owned assets at a Starbucks, at the airport even, while traveling for work, they're not protected unless they're on a VPN. And it's very hard to get users on VPN. Even me being the security professional that I am, VPN makes your experience slower, right? You don't necessarily feel the need to get on VPN if you're just browsing your Gmail, right? Has nothing to do with work. You don't have to log into the VPN. And that's the way a lot of end users are thinking, right? So you need to have something in place to protect those users when they leave the network, when they're roaming in the cloud, as more and more organizations are moving to cloud usage, right? Moving their workloads up to AWS, Azure, having files and important information on box. How do you protect them? And the answer is perimeter security is not enough. We need something in addition, and that is where Umbrella, our cloud security platform, fits. So again, two easy-to-use solutions that are protecting your users wherever they go over any kind of protocol that they're using so that they're constantly being protected, right? So a little more about Umbrella is that I think the power of Umbrella really lies in its DNS mechanism. So with Umbrella, again, we're being able to protect you whether you're on VPN or not, wherever you are. But the great part about that is that we're looking at DNS. If you all are familiar with Cisco and you know the Umbrella story, then you probably know that over 90% of malware command and control attacks, meaning someone out in the wild has taken ownership of your computer, happens via DNS. However, hardly any companies are really securing that DNS layer, when really that's the first line of defense. The first thing before any malware even gets to your users, before it gets to the premises, before it makes it to that firewall even, we want to be able to block a lot of that malicious activity right away. So Umbrella, as you see in this diagram here, really sits out in the internet. So I think it's an amazing solution that I really want to show you, and it gives you visibility you need to detect threats as they're coming to your organization. So what I'm going to do first is show you the Meraki demo, and then the Meraki MX appliance demo, and just pick off right where Jeremy left off, and then we'll go into Umbrella. So as you see here on the left-hand side of the pane here, we have the security appliance. Again, this is a security/WAN appliance, but I want to first start with the security pieces. Firewalls are, I think that when people think security for the most part, but that's changing now, but for the most part, traditionally we think of a firewall. We think of maybe intrusion prevention, and that people feel secure when they have that in place. So that is what this does in its innate capabilities, and we'll first look at that. So threat protection here is like a checkbox, right? You have to have a gate, or like let's say you're thinking of security. You want to have some kind of perimeter security. You want a gate. You want a wall. If the world was perfect, you could build that wall as tall as you want it, right? But we don't live in a perfect world, so things are going to come in. And with knowing that things will come in, it's up to you to define how you treat that traffic when it does come in, and how we treat malicious files when they come into the network. And so that is why in the threat protection screen here, we are able to enable AMP. Again, that is that file inspection capability. So if the firewall, the ACLs don't block what we want it to block, because there has to be traffic that has to come in. You can't block all internet traffic. It isn't feasible. So when you do allow users to go out on the internet, they download some file and bring it back to the branch, how do you detect that? And this is where AMP fits in. So we enable that there. Because sometimes things, it's not always 100% perfect, and we may have some false positives, we do allow you to go in and whitelist some kind of files and whitelist content that you know is safe. That way we won't even inspect it or drop it. And then a second part of this story is, of course, the IPS piece. So we do have the ability to be in detection-only mode, which will only monitor activity, and then, of course, prevention, which is the mode that I see most often, where you can actually block events as they're happening. Cisco's made it really easy for you. We have some rule sets that you can use. You can visit our security page to know more about what those rule sets they entail, but there are three. You can have a more secure, the most secure rule set, which is the connectivity, and then you have balance, which is the default for our firewalls, and then you have this last setting, security. So really, those are there for you to make it easier and give you a good set of rule sets to begin with in terms of blocking different vulnerabilities and what have you from coming into the network. Again, easy. I barely did anything. There's not even a lot on this screen to give you protection.